My name is Trevor Gordon. I'm excited to do another episode of Genuine Enthusiasm. Tonight, I'm going to have the opportunity to chat with Céleste Lévis. Celeste is a Franco-Ontarian singer-songwriter, originally from Timmins, Ontario, with a warm, distinctive voice and heartfelt lyrics. She blends indie pop with introspective melody storytelling. Her music journey began after a health setback in her youth, led away from sports and into songwriting, a turning point that sparkled her creative path. She gained early recognition through Ontario Pop, where she won 6 of 8 awards, leading her to the Festival International de Granby. In 2015, she reached the semifinals, The Voice in Quebec, paused her university studies to pursue music full-time. Wow. Since releasing her debut album, Celeste 2015, she has performed across Canada, including opening up for Francis Cabrel in Quebec. Wow. Celeste has earned multiple award nominations, and I'm excited to chat with her. She has a really great bio. I've had the opportunity of talking to her before when she helped us with an epilepsy awareness campaign. So I'm excited to do something a little more in depth tonight. So I'm seeing that she is behind the curtain. So let's bring her in. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out again.
Before we kind of get into this interview, you don't really do a lot of sort of social media live TikTok stuff. So is there any reason for that? Are you going to be doing that in the future? It's just an honor to get you on TikTok live tonight.
No, I know this is my first time doing a TikTok live. I've done like Facebook and Instagram in the past, but I needed this first time to be able to do it then myself. I see all kinds of people doing a lot of music lives and that, and it's really inspiring. So I'll have to get to it.
Yeah, I like this because it kind of gets put out in the algorithm. You meet new people. So if you're just joining us, make sure you give my awesome guest a follow on TikTok. But yeah, that was just my bonus question. But right out the gate, I want to start off by saying you grew up in Timmins, Ontario. How did your Franco-Ontario roots influence your sound and songwriting?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was like writing in English, but my teachers encouraged me to do it in French because I went to a French school, and of course I'd be able to then perform the songs in French at the school if I did it that way. So it wasn't my first instinct necessarily, but once I started writing in French, I just realized how easier it was for me because that was my first language and everything. So it's influenced me a lot just because we're always trying to show our place, in the Francophone community. Of course, everyone always thinks of Quebec or, that has the most population, of course, of French-speaking people, but we're a lot in Ontario as well, and we have quite the beautiful community. So it's important to keep encouraging that's for sure.
I want to acknowledge the crying in the background by asking you my next question. How do you balance artist life and mom life?
I was hoping it wasn't too loud.
It's real life. It's honest, and it brought perfectly to my next question.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, it's challenging at times for sure. Especially my husband and I, we do music together. So when we're both busy or both on stage at the same time, that's always the hardest moments for sure. I've been able to take some time to stay at home and to more work at home in the past few years since Samuel was born, but it's fun. We're in a stage right now where he's just old enough, just under 3 years old, where we're able to start bringing him with us again to shows, to venues, because his bedtime's a little later, so we've done that in the past few weeks. We've been busy with different events, and we've brought him with us, and he just loves it.
Your music career began after a health setback redirected you from sports to songwriting. Can you tell us more about that turning point and how it shaped you creativity? I can't speak. You know the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I understand. So I was always very sporty when I was younger, and when I was in 8th grade, I found out that I had a Chiari malformation, which is when the brain extends into the spinal cord, and the fluid that's supposed to be circulating around the the brain can't circulate, so it squeezes essentially the brain, and that's why there were so many different symptoms. And I ended up needing to make place in my head. That was the surgery that I had for my spinal cord and my brain. So they took pieces of the skull out and my vertebrae to make space so the fluid could flow properly. And but of course, removing a piece of my skull at the back, that means that nothing's protecting my brain anymore at the back of my head. So sports wasn't an option for me at that point. So that's when I found music, actually, and I didn't have a big interest for it other than enjoying listening to it before then. But what was fun was that as soon as I started learning piano and thought that something sounded good, I started writing songs. So I really feel like it's the songwriting that made me fall in love with it so quickly. And I realized that, at the age of 14, that this was a new way for me to express myself without saying my head hurts or I don't feel good and I don't know what's going on inside. There's ways to say it poetically and musically that just really felt great. And I've continued since.
Your style blends indie pop with like a bit of storytelling. Who are your biggest musical influences?
Musical influences, I have to say, is like James Bay is someone that I really, really enjoy. More so now as well, JP Sachs. I love his music. He's influenced me a lot with my latest songs that I've been writing. There's a lot of artists that I admire a lot. When I was first starting to sing, I was listening a lot to the Civil Wars, which is a folk duo that it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but I was able to learn a lot about my own voice by following her voice. So that was really interesting as well, to songs that I still listen to often. So a lot of different influences, not always necessarily music that represents what I do, but somehow it always, it takes a little bit of all kinds of things that I've listened to all throughout the years to become what I do now. So it's fun.
When you're writing a new song, what usually comes first? The lyrics, the melody, or the emotion?
Oh, I like that. Usually we don't add the emotion part to it. Usually it's just lyrics or melody or music. For me, it's the melody that I would come up with first in my head or as I'm singing, and then the melody will determine the music, like the chords and stuff. So I feel like that's what's fun, because I learned the piano and guitar by myself, by just looking at YouTube, and then in the end, years of practice and stuff. But the instrument that I'm the most comfortable with, or that I know will not let me down, is my voice. So I like to, be free and just try different things with my voice, knowing what is okay and what's not okay. Whereas the piano, I will make mistakes, or the guitar, I will not press hard enough on the chord or whatever, and it'll sound weird. So I have confidence in my voice. So that's the way that I do things, I think.
Okay, this one's a bit of a weird question, but be patient with me as I ask it. Is your, I don't know if you want to call it a skill, you speak multiple languages, English, French. Do you speak any other languages?
Oh, I wish.
So I asked that to say you at least speak 2 languages. Is that sort of a gift and a curse? The reason why I asked that question, you as a songwriter, you making a song, how do you make that decision? Okay, is this going to be a French song, a French-speaking song, an English-speaking song? Is it going to be both? Like, does that kind of think, it's like if you were only English or if you were only French, maybe you wouldn't have that decision. Or is this just a Trevor weird thought in my head?
Oh, actually, that's a really great question. And I have like a couple answers, I have to say. When I write, usually it's like the catchphrase, I'm trying to translate in my head at the same time, but usually the most important part of the song that will make me so inspired, and the little phrase or the little word or whatever, it'll be either in French or English. And like the words are very different, I find, obviously, in French and English as well. So I feel like I could write a song in English about it or in French about it. But in the last like 10 years, I would say, because I've decided to go forward with a French career, and I touched on it really quickly, but our community here in Ontario, it's so small, but there's so much passion, there's so much going on for it, and it's really important to represent that community. I would love to do English as well for my career, and it is going to come for sure in the next few years, but I always have to come back to that. Okay, if I start doing English, that's kind of the route that everyone ends up taking, you know, but if I stay in my French, no, I always have that community that's behind me for that to encourage me, and but it's definitely going to come to English as well. So I've kind of forced it a lot. Not forced it because it is natural, but I mean, when I do have English ideas, sometimes I'll be like, oh, will it sound good in French as well? Maybe I should write it in French. And so far it has gone well like that, but I also keep those ideas in English for an upcoming EP or album to come.
But how do you decide if a song is 1,000,000%, for lack of better words, in stone, this is only going to be French? Do you think a few years later you might revisit it and say, you know what, it was for a French album, but you know what, I want to put this in English, or maybe vice versa?
Yeah, I think at some point too, it's like, why not just write a new song? You know, maybe you'll have the same kind of theme or something and little ideas, but I think it's that I enjoy writing so much. Like, why not just do a new one? You know. But there is a French one that I had started writing originally in English, and I think it might be one that I will finish in English as well, and maybe put it out there again in a different language. It'd be fun. You performed,
of course, across Canada, had opportunity to perform in France. What did that experience teach you?
Oh, I just can't believe that I have the chance to visit all these different places because of music. And that's a great feeling, of course. And it's taught me, you know, that there's, just again, with the French communities, that there's some all over Canada, and people that want and that long for that attachment to their mother tongue, you know. So it's, I think that's something that's really important. I think a lot of people live this kind of situation, but in different ways. So it's important to always represent, you know, where you come from and all that. So I've learned a lot, that's for sure.
You have tell me if I'm saying this name right or wrong. Francis Cabrel or Cabrel?
Francis Cabrel, yeah, Cabrel. So you got it.
Thank you. Opening for him must have been a surreal moment. How did that opportunity come about, and what did you take away from that? And is there still a connection there, or?
Yeah, so that was already back in 2016, 2017, and I had the chance to open for him for 2 of his different tours in Canada. So that was about 20 shows, I'd say. So that was quite the experience, especially at the beginning of my professional career. He's an artist that I look up to. I sing his songs, you know, it's fun fact, but his song was the song I walk down the aisle with. I sing it to my son every night. He loves it. So it was quite the amazing experience, and to have an artist of his caliber that everyone looks up to for songwriting all over the world, that was incredible. So I think, again, seeing an artist that's so big, be so humble and share so many different stories with me and my 2 musicians that were with me at the time, you know, it's just, again, nice to know that he stayed so humble after all these years, and you can have all kinds of success and still give your art and your stories and all these things to help other artists learn. So that was really, I looked up to him at that point for sure. And the way that it happened was I signed with a label in Montreal after The Voice, after La Voix, and he was signed as well for his touring in Canada. So because he's a European artist, he has his own label and stuff over there. But when he comes to Canada, sometimes you need to have those people that are on the ground, you know, so he was signed with the label that I was with. So we got the chance to meet each other because there was talks of me doing his opening act. But yeah, we needed to meet first and everything to make it concrete. So that's what happened. And he invited me, and then we did all the touring. And at the end of it, he had invited me to go to Astafal, which is in France, to do a songwriting workshop, a 2-week songwriting workshop with other European artists. So that was amazing. So I got the chance to do that, and it's influenced me a lot with my songwriting ever since.
Before we wrap up, of course, we'll talk about your new album, but I want to rewind a little bit. Your three albums each have their own identity. How do you feel your sound has evolved from your first album to your present? And then again, we'll talk about the future, but how would you say you're evolving?
Yeah, it's been quite the ride, that's for sure. That my first album, you know, you always say, a lot of artists talk about it, but it's like you represent all the songs you've been writing for 10 years, you know, on this first album. So that was really fun for me. And I had all this big team. It was right after The Voice. So that was exciting. You know, you almost have no budget and you have all these amazing musicians and people working with you and everything. So that was quite fun. But I have to say it was influenced a little bit. You know, it was a bit more on the country side. Which was something that I didn't think I was going to go towards. I really loved folk for sure, but the country aspect was a little bit less me. So when we were talking about a second album, I had said that I wanted to go, you know, more pop indie. And that's when I decided to go my own way and produce my own stuff because they wanted to continue down the country road. So for me already that was a big part, you know, to have a second album come out and already evolve a little bit to what I was looking forward to, you know, for that style of music. We did a great job with that second one. And then the third one, I wanted to push it a little bit more, you know, more pop, a little bit of rock in there as well. So I'm very, very proud of all the steps that we've taken to be where we are today. And I think that also just lyrically, it's evolved naturally throughout the years as well. I'm more confident in what I'm saying. I've experienced life in all kinds of different ways now. I'm a mother, so that's kind of what's coming into this fourth or fifth album, because I have a Christmas album as well. But this fifth album is really exciting because I feel like I've lived so much since 2021 when I put out my last album. When it comes to health, when it comes to, like I said, becoming a mother, making all these choices for myself, and being a woman in the music industry. So all these different themes are really influencing me a lot, and I can't wait to share my thoughts and hope that people can connect with them.
We touched a little bit on this earlier, but as a Francophone artist in a primary Anglophone country, what challenges or advantages have you experienced?
Yeah, so challenges, I think it is a smaller community, and in Quebec there's such a strong Francophone community that sometimes it's hard to pierce that wall, you know, between us. And because of The Voice, which is filmed in Quebec, I was able to, you know, like cross over, as we would say, to the Quebec side. But now it's to maintain that relationship, you know, between les Québécois and les Franco-Ontariens. So we're working hard at that to try and just stay relevant. Because of course, when you're on a TV show where you have 3 million people watching every week, and then you're not on the TV show, they think you just stopped doing music. You know, they don't necessarily know that you're putting out new music and stuff. So the big challenge is to make sure that what I do is being heard and being seen. So that's where we try and do as much as we can and be involved in different communities and do all kinds of things to get our name out there all the time. So that would be the biggest challenge.
We talked again a little bit about this as well, in the sense of how you decide to write something in English and in French, but in the sense of the creativity. But I guess I didn't really ask you, do you ever feel pressure to sing in English, or do you see singing in French as now part of, you touched on it, your artist identity? Yeah,
no, it's definitely my identity. I'm very proud of what I've done. I represent the Francophones often here in Ontario when I do things on the Quebec side or elsewhere. And you know, when I started doing music in French, we had a lot of the artists that I looked up to that were Francophone that would come to the schools, that would come to our shows and help us out and tell me how I could be better and all these different things. And for me to be knowing that I've had now my own experience, and I'm very involved in the schools, I like to think that I can give back as well to that community. So it's become really important to me, and I see the difference that it makes to have someone who truly is passionate about it, and I truly am. So I'm happy to be able to do that as well.
I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to interview many musicians over the past year, and I really make sure I tailor each question to each artist, but I've been making a point to ask this one same question to every musician because it's my own little nerdy question. So if you can indulge me here, I am a huge fan of songs that are 5 minutes and longer. I literally have a playlist of songs like Purple Rain by Prince, Hotel California. Now I can't even list all the songs, but you get the idea. There's the songs that, it really takes a moment to build. And I love songs that are 5 minutes and longer. All that to say, when you're writing a song, do you, is it conscious? Is it like a thing in your mind, how long you're going to write this song? Like how many, does a minute of a song factor when you're writing a song? That's really what I'm trying to get out. It's like, what are your thoughts of a short song versus a 5 minute or longer song?
You know what? That's awesome. And I think it's important to talk about it, but I'm actually very proud to say that I don't think about the minutes when I'm writing a song. Because nowadays we're seeing so much that even on the radio, there's pressure to have songs under 3 minutes. And if it's longer, you probably won't play, So there is a big pressure to that where it's to make these songs smaller and smaller. And I believe that the song should live the way it's supposed to be lived and written. So of course there's always ways to make a song shorter if you have to for a radio play, like the radio edits and that, but I think that the song on the album should be the way that it is. So I haven't made a 5 minute song in a very long time. I feel like that's at the beginning of my songwriting days. You could just go on and on and on because you didn't really understand how a song was structured, but that's a good one. I'll have to see if I'll get to that point with this next album. I'll think of you.
Well, it just hit me even now, like Taylor Swift. I mean, the song All Too Well is like a 10 or 11 minute song. Yeah. But I think when it originally came out, she had the 3 or 4 minute version. But I think she said, no, I want everyone to hear that 10 minute version, right?
Story, right? So, yeah.
I guess my other nerdy question of the interview ultimately is, what was that moment, if you can rewind a little bit, maybe when you were quite young, that hit you when you got that goosebump moment when you're like, yeah, I want to be a singer. I see what that person on stage is doing. I want to do what that person is doing. Do you remember that moment like it was yesterday?
I can't say that it was a certain moment. I know because for me, it was so weird that I didn't already have that in my head that I wanted to do music. Like I didn't know if I could sing. I didn't know because I was so shy to sing in front of people. So that wasn't like a reality for me. But I do know that like American Idol, Canadian Idol, all these different shows, I would watch them and I would just like, I'd imagine myself doing it even though I didn't know if I could or not. So it was definitely something that was clearly always there and something I enjoyed watching. And then it's quite funny to see that years later I went on one of those types of TV shows, So I'm very grateful for that experience. But to really say that I knew I was maybe not wanting to do the career, but knowing that it was possible for me to have a career, there was a moment for sure. And it was, you mentioned it for my bio, but Ontario Pop in 2013, when I won 6 of the 8 prizes, my parents were there and someone had came to my dad and said, that this is the real deal, like this could actually work if she keeps going, So that was a moment, I think, not even just for me, but for my family, to realize like, okay, yes, she's going to university, but this could also be a career path, So I think we always have it in our head that it's those 1 in a million chances and not necessarily, you can work hard and get to your own type of success, So that was an important moment for me.
Again, we touched on this at the start in the sense of social media. You said that this is even your first time doing a live on TikTok. What are your views of social media as being a singer, a mother, a wife? What are your views about social media, both in your personal life and as a professional artist? What are your thoughts of social media and how it factors in your life?
I love social media. But I've had a relationship that's like fluctuated over the years. Not my love for it, just I think my energy towards it. I love sharing photos. I love that, like, my husband takes these beautiful photos of me. I'm so lucky, and I love sharing it. But I've had moments too where I would get frustrated that, you know, a selfie of me that took 2 seconds to take will have more likes than this beautiful photography that's been, you know, we like planned it and made it all like this perfect thing, or the fact that I'll be eating a burger and that will get more views than the song that comes out, you know. So I think there's been a lot of kind of like a tug of war situation, you know, where I want it to work. I want to share every part of me and for everything to be like encouraged just as much, you know. But it's hard when you're trying to promote something and you don't get as much views and that then the things that take 2 seconds, you know. So that I think that's what's the hardest part with the social media. But I love it. I love watching videos. I find people hilarious and it makes me so happy to be on social media. So I haven't been as connected as I wanted to for different reasons, you know, personal health reasons and different things. But I really want to get back to it. And I think having a new album that's coming out in 2026, I think that's going to help me get back into it for sure.
That is my next question. You're currently working on a new album set for 2026. Can you give us a sneak peek into its theme or direction?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but I think we're definitely continuing in the same direction as my last album, but just with, you know, even like I talked about the different things that I've been living the last few years. I think lyrically it's going to be that step up, musically as well. I love the intensity of some of the songs in my last album, and I think we're going to go more pop as well, just from different influences that I've listened to musically in the past couple of years again. I put out a first single called Contre Cœur, and I think it gives you a good idea of the direction that we're heading. I love that I gave myself time to write this album as well. I think that's the most important thing I could have done for myself, because we're always rushed, you know, to put out the new thing. Everyone, as soon as you put something out, someone's already asking for what's next. So I'm really proud of the work that we've been doing, and I've had time to just digest and think of new ideas to make this album that much better. So I'm excited to share it all with everyone.
What does success look like at this stage of your career?
I love that. Success at this point, because there's my biggest dream really was to have my own family, to have a child, hopefully maybe even another one. So my success right now is sometimes wanting, yes, to be international, to be in Europe doing a tour, which I would love one day. That's my biggest dream. But at the same time, being away from home is getting harder and harder. So I think success for me right now, I'm very happy with just having more people listen and not, you know, staying at the same amount. Like to have my audience grow a little bit each time I put something new out. That's really I'll be very happy with that. But and to be able to keep doing shows like we're doing, to keep putting my time into music, you know, and not have to be working a 40-hour week at a different job. You know, I think we're very lucky to be doing what we're doing and to be so busy with all these different projects that revolve around our music. So I just want to keep doing this and still have time to visit my family in Timmins and friends a bit everywhere. So yeah.
What do you hope audiences feel when they hear your music live?
I want them to just feel like they can relate to the things that I'm saying, that it's something real as well, that I'm presenting myself as an artist, but it's also who I am. It's genuine, and yeah, I want them to feel it in the music, in my voice, in the lyrics. So yeah.
I guess the last question I'll ask you here is, if you could give advice to your younger self when you were just starting out, what would you say?
I would just say to, you know, keep believing in yourself, you know, even though there's people that will you know, try to pick at some of the things that you don't like yourself or whatever, you know, to just keep going. So there's people that appreciate it that much more. Yeah.
I said that was my last question, but a bonus question went in my head. You're in the elevator, you're around people that have never heard you as an artist before. You have 45 seconds, 60 seconds to tell them about you. Tell them about your vibe, you as an artist. in under 60 seconds, what are you saying to that person in the elevator?
Oh, I'll say, hi, my name is Céleste Lévis, and I'm a Francophone singer-songwriter, originally from Timmins, Ontario, so that's important. I'm a proud Francophone artist, and my biggest passion is writing my own music to try to relate with other people. And if you want to smile and feel good, I invite you to go listen to my music and everything that comes with it. And follow me on social media, where I might show pictures of my rabbit and my cute little son. So there we go.
Well, that was awesome. But I'll still give you the last word in the sense of tell us your website, your socials, if there's any surprise tour dates that you want to let us be aware of. I'm giving you the last word here.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for listening. I hope you'll get a chance to go discover some of my music, and you can find everything on my website, celestelevy.com. And when it comes to handles and everything, they're all the same as well, at Celeste Lévis. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming. So I hope everyone has a great summer.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I know you're quite busy. You've always been so kind and giving me some of your time for this. So I thank you for doing this. I am going to put you on the spot though. Now that you are on TikTok, now that you have done a live before, I am begging you to start doing TikTok lives more. Like, even if you just go on live and hit start and just sing. Do it once a week, once every couple of weeks. People will love seeing you just do the odd little behind the scenes in the studio. I think you will realize how much people will gravitate and follow you on TikTok, because you're great here on TikTok.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. And I think, yeah, you just need to like rip the Band-Aid off, right? So I got to do that tonight with you, Trevor. And yeah, I think I will start to try different things for sure. I think too much sometimes. You know, I talked about wanting it to be perfect and stuff, but I realize that people just want to connect, and I'll have to do that for sure. I'll take your advice.
Well, I appreciate your time, and thank you for those that were watching live, and again, those that are watching us the recording on YouTube after. But thank you so much, and thank you again for doing that.
Thank you, Trevor. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.